Welcome to the Grammar in Spoken Discourse at the fourth session. So at the third session, we have discussed a bit about the aspect that usually used in spoken discourse. We have discussed a bit about perfect aspects. Now I'm going to discuss a bit about the progressive aspect. If perfect means that the activity has already completed. Meanwhile, progressive aspect describe activities or events in progress at a particular of time, usually for a limited amount of time. Present progressive can describe an event that is in progress, like what is she doing? So it means that person doing something that is still continuous when we ask that questions. Okay, or I'm looking for an employee of yours, so it means that at the time of speaking I'm still looking for an employee. And then present progressive with future time reference means that present progressive can be used to describe an event that might happen in the future. For example, but she's coming back tomorrow. It means that tomorrow she will come back. I'm going with him next week. Okay, so that's progressive aspect. So progressive aspect can be used to describe an event that is still in progress, or it can be used to describe an event in the future. Okay, past progressive verb describe events that were in progress at an earlier time. So it means before present. Look at the example. I was just coming back from Witham. I was just coming back from Witham. Well, he was saying that he's finding in a bit difficult. It is sometimes assumed that progressive aspect occurs only with dynamic verbs that describe activities, but actually progressive is also used with verbs that describe a situation or a state. In this case, the progressive refers to the ongoing continuation of the state. The example, Chris is living there now. Now, present. Okay, I was sitting in my office smoking one of James' cigarettes. Some of the most common verbs occurring with progressive aspect describe a short-term state, like most of the example. Okay, and then you can also read the PowerPoint to see what verbs that can be used with the progressive aspect. Please see that example. The example is very clear there. And then you can also read the characteristic that influence whether the progressive is used with a verb concerns the question, how long does the state or action described by the verb last? Okay, and then some mental verbs that occurs with human agents fit the category of a process that extends over time. Okay, for example, the verbs like hope, think, and wonder. You can see the explanation there in the PowerPoint. Okay, and then many activity verbs like bring, drive, move, play, or walk also refers to an action that extends over time, and therefore they occur in the progressive. As I told you last time, that there are several verbs cannot be used in the progressive verb, like feeling, because you cannot see the progress. But activity verbs can be used with the progressive. For example, he was driving his van, delivering copies of First Rebel. Sorry, a lot of people are chasing me. So you can see the activity, chasing, driving. They are shouting. You can see the action or the activity of shouting. So the verbs that can be used or that usually occurs in progressive is activity verbs, in which you can see the action there. Okay, and then in contrast, there are many dynamic verbs that refer to an action that takes place instantaneously. For example, shut, smash, swallow, and throw have virtually no duration. You cannot see the duration in doing that. You cannot see the duration when someone shout. Okay, and those verbs rarely occurs in the progressive. Doesn't mean that you cannot use that in progressive, but that rarely occurs. Okay, and then the major points in grammar in aspect, there are two aspects in English. There are two, that is perfect and progressive, in which each aspect can be combined with present and past tense. For the example, you can see again on the PowerPoint at the third session. Okay, and then perfect aspect points back to an earlier time, so it means before the present, and usually signals that the circumstances or its result continues up to a given time. Perfect aspect. Okay, and then perfect aspect is most common in fiction, in news. So that's first. And then perfect aspect verbs are often used with time adverbials that make the time reference explicit. You can see the example on this PowerPoint. Okay, later on you can read it by yourself. And then progressive aspect signals that an event currently in progress or an event that in the future that is quite certain. So if you are very sure that you are going to do something, then you use a progressive aspect. Like, I'm going to the mall tomorrow. It means you are very sure that you are 90% you are going to the mall, compared to I will go to the mall. Okay, so the percentage is lesser. Okay, and then progressive aspect is used more commonly in conversation rather than in writing. American English conversation use progressive aspect the most, far more than the British English conversation. And surprisingly, the most common verb in progressive aspect include both dynamic verbs and static verbs. Okay, so I think that's all for the session 4. Please read the assignment for session 4. If you have problems or if you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. You have my email address there, so just email me, then I will help you with the problems or I will answer your question. So bye bye, see you.